Chris Olave is carted off of today's game with what appears to be a significant head injury. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Dr. Stephen Wilson, and if you're new to this channel, here we analyze and break down to further understand the mechanism of sports injuries. So if that's the type of content that interests you, then please consider liking and subscribing to this channel. Olave left today's game on a spine board after receiving a direct shot to his head in what appeared to be the outcome being a significant head injury. So what we're looking at here is the replay between the Saints and the Panthers this afternoon. We want to take a look at the top of the screen on the right side of the formation. Receiver here, Chris Olave. When the ball is snapped, Carr is going to make the pass down the field. Olave, he is going downfield on his pass route. Carr is going to put the ball up. So here, Olave has inside position on the Panthers corner. The ball is coming in. He's going to try and make the reception here, but we do want to pay attention to the Panthers safety right here. He's high over top, and he's going to come into the picture here, trying to make a play on the ball and on Olave, the receiver. The pass goes incomplete. Olave is in a bit of a vulnerable position there. You can see number 12, he's got his arms up in the air. The Panthers safety, he comes in, and there's the impact. It looks like almost the Panthers safety, his right shoulder is making direct contact with Olave's head right there. Olave then falls to the turf, hits his head on the turf, and then lays motionless on the field here. That's where the injury and the concussion occurs. It's when Olave's coming in from the middle, going to make that reception. The pass goes incomplete, and the impact we see right there, the Panthers' right shoulder of the safety, making impact with Olave's head. When Olave's coming over the middle here, his body, his neck, his head, his skull, his brain, they're all moving at the same rate of speed towards the middle of the field. But when the Panthers safety, his right shoulder makes contact with Olave's head, his head stops abruptly, but his brain is inside his skull, and it's still moving at that same rate of speed towards the middle of the field. And that's going to cause the bumping of the front of his brain on the inside front part of Olave's skull bone, and that bumping, that impact, that's what initiates and sets off the cascade of symptoms of the concussive event here. Further into the play, Olave lays motionless on the field. He is eventually removed from the playing field here on a spine board and a stretcher. I just want to go over a couple of reasons why that can occur on a play such as this. Obviously, when the athletic trainer and the medical personnel, they're out on the field attending to Olave, they're going to look at his airway, his breathing, his circulation, assuming that those are normal, those are unremarkable. There's a couple of other reasons why the spine board is then used. When Olave, he's laying motionless on the field, we can assume by replay at this point, perhaps he is unconscious. There's a concussion on the play. If he is unconscious, perhaps he has maybe even an altered level of consciousness, or what we could call a deteriorating level of consciousness. When the athletic trainer and the medical personnel, when they're trying to do their on-field physical assessment here, if Olave is unable to actively participate in that assessment, he's unable to provide accurate, or what they feel is not accurate information, then they are unable to rule out the suspicion of a spinal fracture. If there is still a suspicion of spinal fracture, there could be instability of his spinal column, and that could compress onto his spinal cord, or perhaps even a nearby vascular structure. If that is the case, they will err on the side of caution. They will act with an abundance of caution and remove him from the field of play on the spine board. When they're doing their on-field assessment, they're also going to look for a detectable, perhaps a noticeable neurological deficit. They're going to check his gross motor strength. They're going to ask him to, squeeze his hands, make a fist, move his arms and his legs. And if he's unable to do that, that is certainly a neurological deficit. He would be then, again, spine boarded for that reason. Maybe he's having numbness or tingling in his legs or hands, a type of paresthesia, or even what we call an anesthesia, where there is no discernible feeling in an area of his legs or his arms. Again, that would constitute as a neurological deficit. And if he is unable to accurately portray these answers because he is unconscious or has an altered level of consciousness or a deteriorating level of consciousness. If any of those are present, the spine board is brought out and is needed to remove him from the field of play. We're going to look at the anatomy screen here in a moment to correlate exactly what we saw on the field with the relevant anatomy of his head and brain. So here we are looking at an anatomical model of a neck, a skull, and brain inside of the skull. So if we can imagine, we can picture this being Chris Olave coming over the middle of the field with his arms stretched above his head, looking to make that reception in the Panthers' safety using his right shoulder, making impact into Olave's head pretty much from this direction right here, from the front right side. Olave's brain is suspended inside of his skull in this nice bath of cerebral spinal fluid. But when the Panthers' safety's, his right shoulder makes contact with the front of Olave's head, that's going to stop his skull very quickly, but the momentum of his brain is going to carry through, and there's going to be a bumping inside of his skull right about here, right in the front, and that bumping, that impact is going to cause a functional injury, not a structural. Hopefully there's not a brain bleed, subdural hematoma in this, in his situation here. Assuming it is a functional injury, then that sets off the depolarization of the electrical circuits in his brain and the cascade of symptoms that ensues with the concussive event. This is Olave's second concussion very recently here. I would suspect he's going to miss some significant or an extended period of time as a result. When he does come back, perhaps a guardian cap could be in his future here as well. This is a significant injury. He was taken to the hospital. Hopefully he does make a full recovery. Thank you as always for listening. I do appreciate your time and attention. Have a great night.